Now, as I just mentioned there, good morning to you, by the way, Nicola Bulley's friends have renewed their appeal for help as the police are now, well, continuing to search for the mother of two. They're now moving that search to the coastline at Morecambe Bay, several miles away. GMB's Katy Rickitt has been there all week, Katy. I mean, at this point, you would have hoped there would have been some lead, some indication. What is the latest on this truly baffling disappearance?
Well, Ranvir, I think what's so frustrating for everyone is there are more questions than answers. An expert came from SIG this week to look through the river and basically said he is adamant that Nicola is not in that river. The police still believe that she fell into the water and have taken their search downstream towards the sea line at Morecambe Bay. But basically, like I said, more questions than answers this week. And you can see some of Nicola's friends just behind me. They're out this morning because police confirmed that there is no CCTV on the main entrance/exit to the beauty spot where she went missing. So they want to speak to any drivers, and police believe there could be as many as 700 passed through around the time she went missing. Now, I'm going to bring in lovely Emma White, who is one of Nicola's friends, who's been campaigning really hard to raise awareness and keep her in people's minds, haven't you? Just tell us what you're wanting to do today.
Yeah, so 2 weeks on, and like you've just said, we have got no footage, or the police haven't any CCTV, dash cam footage, even people walking. So we're out today really to jog those people's memories. 2 weeks on, we need some news. When Paul goes home to the girls each day and they say, "Have you found mummy? Where's mummy?" And Paul keeps having to say no, and you can just see them deflate. So that's our inspiration. Why we're out there, we have to bring some good news and bring Nikki home to the family.
This week must have been so tough, and I know that your children are friends with Nicola's children. Just describe what's been going on for you all as families involved in this.
Yeah, I mean, Paul said it's perpetual hell, isn't it? It's torture, it's the despair. The frustration is mounting, and when I say frustration, I'm not getting annoyed with people. The frustration that we've got the police, we've got the mountain rescue, we've got Peter and his amazing teams, which we have to say a big shout out to Peter and his boys for giving up their time and coming. That simple act of kindness has meant so much. Yet we have no fruition, we have no lines of inquiry, we have nothing. So hence today is such a big day. We know last week when we did the same, drove a humongous amount of calls into the 101 call centre, which they had to put an extra team on. So we want to do that again. But what we do say, and I know that came out in the police, but it has to be factual. We can't be speculating, we can't cause... What we don't want to do is clog the lines so people can't get through that have the real key piece of information and they just hang up. So we just want factual information about this bit of road, anybody that saw Nicola, just to bring Nikki home.
Thank you so much, Emma. We wish you the best of luck with that. And Emma was just saying all they want now is for Nicola to come home. And just speaking about factual information, there's a dispersal order in place at the moment in St Michael's on Wyre. They are asking people not to come and speculate about what has happened here. But if you have any vital information that you believe might be of use, please do get in touch.
All right, thanks, Katy, and thanks to her friend there as well. I mean, Dr Ami is here. That in itself is such a deeply unsettling story for all of us. Obviously, for the family, it's horrifying that someone can just vanish into thin air, seemingly. But there's been so much news, hasn't there? The Turkey earthquake, you know, the terrible death of the family at Epsom College and what may not have happened there. I mean, just these dreadful, random, terrifying events. It can get on top of you, I think.
It can.
It can affect your mood, it can affect how you feel.
Yeah, and it can be overwhelming at times as well. And a lot of us get our news now on our phones, which we have with us all the time, so it's a constant feel. And a lot of the headlines are driven by emotions, so you feel like you have to know everything all at once.
Yeah.
Now, it's normal to feel empathy, it's normal to want to help, and I think those are good emotions, but it's really important that we all look after our mental health as well. So take a break from it. Don't have notifications of news alerts on your phone. You don't need to know everything all of the time. I would say unfollow negative accounts on social media as well. You don't need that negative feed in your life. And if you're really brave, uninstall some of those news apps and social media apps that actually drip those things in. The other thing I would say is, yes, definitely feel empathy, definitely try and help people where you can, but also actively seek out positive emotions, so excitement, laughter, joy. Go out there and find those things. Don't wait for them to come to you. So those things that you enjoy doing, whatever that might be, go and do it. It's okay to do that. And this might sound a little bit like woo-woo, but it is evidence-based. Breathing exercises, meditation, really good for your mind.
Yeah.
And my favourite thing to do, and I would recommend it to everyone, is spend time in nature. Nature really heals the mind. Go outdoors, even for a few minutes, listen to some birdsong, see some nature.
Yeah, I think that's really, really good advice. I think one of the issues is that, you know, we have the radio on, you might have the TV on in the morning on the school run or whatever it might be. How do you, and should you indeed, talk to children about what they are clearly picking up?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Children's Mental Health Week this week, and it's half term coming up as well. It's a good time to talk to children about their mental health. What I would say, Andrew, rather than talk to children about their mental health, listen to children. When people ask me about how do you talk to whoever about mental health, I always say it's more about listening than talking. And for children, I think when you've got children at home, it's really important as an adult to create a loving environment at home. It's not about buying them things, it's about those kind of things that you can do for free together that help their mental health. And this might sound really strict, Ranvir, but I am going to be really strict. As an adult, you have a responsibility to that child not to argue in front of them, not to fight with your partner in front of them. All of that creates a really negative space and negative emotions for those children. In terms of trying to listen to them about their mental health, children, depending on their age, you've got to use different language. So
Yeah, teenagers are a whole other world.
They're a whole other
yeah.
world. 12 and above, they usually understand their feelings better. Create some family time. Go out and do some things that they enjoy doing and perhaps try and talk to them about their mental health at that point.
Yeah, do you know what I find? I don't know where I got it from, but I do this with my son regularly, and he does it with me, oddly, if I forget. I go, how are you feeling out of 10?
Yes.
Mentally, emotionally and physically.
I love
So he'll
that.
go, oh, I didn't have a good lunch today at school. I feel about a 7.
Yes.
Oh, right, OK. And it's just the numbers thing. It's quite impersonal. And I think it kind of helps him to put it on numbers rather than words.
That is so good.
But he does it with me. I mean, it's fantastic advice there, actually. I think we all need to take a bit of stock and a bit of time to rebalance ourselves sometimes. I tell you what is actually uplifting is this wonderful film that Dame Judi Dench is in and an amazing cast. It's basically a love letter to the NHS. Let's just take a look. Oh, my goodness. I went to see The Whale and it was a trailer before The Whale, and I thought, this is the film I want to see. Yeah.
Weirdly enough, it's a feel-good film set during the time of the pandemic when people were released from hospital and hadn't been tested. It sounds odd, but it is a feel-good film. And actually, what I like about it is we often talk about the stress of the NHS and we forget about social care, which is like the NHS's forgotten sibling. But this sends a message to us saying how important social care is in investing in social care.
I think this is a brilliant passion project, I think, for all the actors involved.
Yeah.
What a fantastic thing. Now, we've got something else to show you. Now, don't worry. It's like you're an endangered species at the moment. This doctor on TikTok is convinced that robots are closer to looking after us than ever before. Let's take a look.
Oh.
It's because ChatGPT might just take my job as a doctor. And I gave it a patient, told it had chest pain, asked for life threats to eliminate, and it gave me every single cause and explained it to me. The scariest part is I gave it a patient history with nuances that it needed to integrate. And it diagnosed the patient for me. This is going to change the role of doctors in healthcare. And
well, that puts a whole new spin on the idea of getting trying to ring the doctors at 8 a.m. to try and get an appointment that day. Talk to a robot instead, Amir?
I'm not sure about this. You know, we do use robotics and computer systems in the NHS. It does help us with lots of things, but there's nothing better than that human touch, you know, and those nuances that take
Would
place.
Would it relieve pressure on you, though?
It might for certain things, not for everything, because often patients say one thing, but actually reading their body language is really important as well, which they can't do. I'm doing yours right now, Ranvir.
Oh, what am I saying? Go on, what is it?
I don't think I can say on daytime TV. See, you won't get that from a computer system.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. I think that's really, really fascinating because, I mean, AI and all of that, it is encroach. It is going to be in our. We have those driverless cars being tested. You know, all of that sort of stuff is going to be part of our life, or at least our children's life.
It's the future, and it certainly is. But alongside humans and human nature, you can't beat that human touch, certainly when it comes to consultations with patients.
Yeah, and I think you're right about the idea that if you're saying, oh, I've got headaches, but you've got tears in your eyes, you might go, what's going on?
Exactly.
A computer can't recognise that you might be feeling
low
down and low about something else. Yeah, it's fascinating. Dr. May, we'll never replace you on this show because you are obviously the best human on the planet. Ross, thank you so much. Lovely to see you in itself as a tonic for me, to see you. It makes me feel 10 out of 10.
Thank you.
Lovely stuff.